right. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited to offer another Canva workshop. For those of you who were able to come to our last one, we had a lot of fun, and so we decided to do it again. We didn't get to talk about video last time, so this time that's all we're going to talk about is video. And we've got a lot to go over. So we will go ahead and talk about who we are for those who don't know. I know on our meeting announcement, we said that George Hanshaw was going to be with us today. Unfortunately, he had an emergency come up, and so he's not able to join us live, but he did pre-record some of his thoughts for us. So you will get to hear from him today, just not in the format we normally would do. But George is our director of the Digital Learning Solutions team here at LAPU. And we're super excited to have him as our leader because we get to do fun stuff like this. Kenna, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Kenna Miller, and I'm a senior instructional designer here at LAPU. My background is actually in business, so I bring a lot of that to my perspective as I'm going through designs. I work with subject matter experts and the deans and sometimes faculty and all of our digital learning solutions team to create wonderful courses for our students. And I'm hoping to share some of that with all of you today.
And I am Callista Dawson. I am the Learning Experience Design Manager. I get to work very closely with our design team and also our tech team. We're a very collaborative design team, so it's fun to all work together. But my direct purview is the design team. And today we're going to be talking about several things, but I wanted to explain to you just a quick overview of how we approach learning at LAPU. We use our very well-branded LAPU learning model. And so this presentation will be pretty much chunked up into 4 parts. There will be a short learning section, followed by an apply section with our practice, which is the demo and feedback section, and then our utilize will be the contest. And those of you who were with us last time already know about, we like to challenge everyone to enter our contest, and there are prizes. And so we'll talk about that more at the end. But we're going to start off with our learn section for today, which is create the learning moment. And so creating the learning moment is where we really focus in on what our learning is going to feel like. So I want you all to think of the most powerful moments that you've had in your life, like just the first couple that come to mind. Those are special for some reason, right? But they are exactly that. They're just moments. And so when it comes to short form video, which is the focus of our talk today, and it is a great medium for us to capture learning moments and create those feelings in our students using video. So the first thing I want to show you today is one of George's videos that he made for us. He made us 4 short form videos to kind of show us how it's done, but also deliver some good learning content. So here's the first one.
Did you just feel something right there? Did you feel a little empathy or sympathy for the person that's fumbling and dropping things? That's because we have these things called mirror neurons or mirror neurons. And in video, they help us kind of feel that we're a part of the current process. So whether you saw that in person or saw this video, you probably had a little bit of, oh, you maybe felt a little sorry for me for all the fumbling and stumbling that I did. So remember those mirroring neurons. That's why video is so powerful, because it draws people into the story like nothing else, because our neurons feel a part of the story.
All right, so that was George's first video about mirroring neurons. Sorry if the volume wasn't loud enough. I'll see if I can turn it up on the next one. Okay, so a little bit more about mirror neurons. These are something that come into play with short form video in a big way. And they make the short form videos really powerful because, like George said, they increase empathy. So when we're watching someone else perform an action, those mirror neurons start to fire, which allows us to simulate the action ourselves just by watching what they're doing. This can lead to increased empathy for the person we are watching, as we can better understand what they're feeling and experiencing. Another way that it works well with short form video is because it improves learning. Those mirror neurons can also help us learn new skills by allowing us to observe and imitate the actions of others. So the short form video can demonstrate how to do something like a cooking tutorial, a fitness routine, and it can be really effective. Another way that it works is through creating a sense of connection. So we're watching that person do whatever it is they're doing. So like with George and his water bottle, it creates that sense of connection between us and that person, just like talking about empathy. We start to feel what they're feeling and like take on the stress or the happiness that's going on in what we're seeing them do. And this can be a powerful way to build relationship and community as well. So just overall, mirror neurons can make short form videos more powerful in these 3 ways, and they're often used to share educational content. And you'll also see them used for things like promoting social causes, building brand awareness, anything that would require needing someone to care about something. Like short form video is a great way to achieve that. So like I mentioned before, things like cooking tutorials, you're watching the video to learn how to make a new dish, right? But if the person who made the video is doing a good job of being warm and inviting in their presentation, you're way more likely to then go consume more of their content, right? So even though it's a short video, you are taking that opportunity to build relationship with that person so that hopefully they'll start to trust you as a content provider. Let's see, we've got another video here from George.
Think of Lay's potato chips for a moment. They had a tagline that says you can't eat just one. So that's like these short form videos. If we build them correctly, people want to consume more than one. They want to consume those Lay's potato chips or those YouTube shorts, Instagram reels, or the content that we create for courses in those short, really tasty bites. So that's one way to also connect with that societal norm is know that student learners want to consume more in smaller bites. One of my favorite sayings is short form is the norm. What do I mean by that? Well, short form videos are becoming a societal norm. And we know that society and culture plays a deep role in learning and people connecting to that learning as well. So if we connect with our short form videos and keep them concise and in control, people will connect with them more. Believe it or not, prior to YouTube coming out, the play bar on the bottom, the one on YouTube where we scrub through videos all the time now, we're so used to it, that was considered a distraction by learners or from learners. So studies before YouTube and after YouTube are drastically different on how to use video, and even those little scrub bars or the play bars down below where learners have control. So we know now that learners love control. But prior to that, prior to YouTube being a societal norm, guess what? It was a distraction.
All right, Kenna, you want to share some more with us about that?
Yeah, of course. So like George said, short form is the norm, and people seem to be more attracted to short form videos like TikTok videos or just short bits of content that are about 1 minute or less. And that kind of begs the question, why? So let's talk about some of the science behind it. But before I continue, like I mentioned, my background is in business, so I am by no means an expert in this area. So Susan Weinschenk, who is a PhD, wrote this article called The Dopamine Seeking Reward Loop. And the article explains how people get into a cycle or a dopamine loop of continuous scrolling. And dopamine is a hormone that actually can make you addicted to seeking information. I'm sure most of you use social media. So have you ever been in a situation where you've been scrolling for a while and then you realize that it's been, a half hour or even an hour, and you've been down a few different rabbit holes, and you look up and all of this time has passed? Well, there's actually a scientific explanation for that. So your body receives small cues from anything that you encounter in your life. Specifically with social media, this would be something like a screen refresh after you reach the bottom of your feed, or if you get a comment or a notification, or something loads, or even if you see something that kind of triggers you to go to the next thing. Or sometimes people will sign off and say, oh, watch my next video to find out more. So any kind of call to action or cue that your body receives, it actually triggers a release of dopamine. And by thinking that something is going to happen, or you're going to miss something, you actually become addicted to the search for that information. So one question that I have to you as well is, think about this as you're creating content. How can you create a feeling in your viewer of, oh no, I'm going to miss something. I have to keep watching, or I have to keep going down this path of this creator, or I need to see the next thing that they've made. So those are just some questions to think about and consider as you're building out your content of how do you create your content in a way that makes the audience curious. So that's a little bit about the scientific explanation behind it. This is another video from George. So I think you have to unmute.
Then we'd all be in shape, right? Forever. Short form.
Do I need to play it again? Sorry.
Yeah.
So how many of us go to the gym? Think about short form videos as a way of going to the gym. If you go to the gym one time, you're not going to consider yourself in shape, right? I wish we could, because then we'd all be in shape, right? Forever. Short form videos give you opportunity for the learner to go back and back and back and take a look at that individual content, that really focused content. And when they do that, it's just like you or I going to the gym multiple times. We get stronger, we get better, we get in better physical condition. So just as we compare our mind to our muscles, going back and learning the content over and over, just we've all done it. Go back like, oh, what was this again? When you have those short form videos, you can be very precise about what you go back and look at, and you can become more a learner, healthy, if you would.
All right. So to expand on that a little bit more, the learning fitness aspect of short form video comes in these three ways. So it's convenient and accessible. They can be watched on any device at any time for any length of time. And this makes them a great option for people who are short on time or who want to learn something on the go. The short form videos are also engaging and motivating. So they are often designed to be entertaining or visually appealing, which helps to keep viewers engaged, which promotes learning, obviously. And then the last part was that they require regular practice. In order to learn something new or stay in shape, it is important to practice regularly. So short form videos can be a great way to break down complex topics into smaller, more manageable chunks that can be learned over time. So we have a little point here where we can chat, and feel free to unmute if you have something you'd like to share. But our question to you right now is, what do you feel makes a powerful short video? So if anyone feels like chatting with us, go ahead and come on the screen, unmute yourself. This is your opportunity to let us hear you. Who's not feeling shy today? Alyssa or Grace, would you like to start us off? I know you guys both make short form videos. Oh, I see Amy coming on. Hi, Amy.
Yeah. I would say, I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea. Most of my video work has been in film and TV.
Mhm.
And so those are obviously not meant to be short form,
Right.
which is like 60 seconds or less. I literally have no idea what I could put in a 1 minute video.
That's the challenge, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially when you're using a format like YouTube Shorts, in order for it to qualify as a short, it has to be 60 seconds or less. And
Right.
so that's the challenge, is thinking, how can I be super focused, laser focused, and make it something somebody's going to want to watch or listen to.
Right.
Yeah.
And also make it the quality aspect of like making sure that I'm understandable to my audience while, that's wow. I have no idea. To answer the question, I have no idea what makes a powerful short video.
I will speak a little bit to your comment about the quality level. There's actually some really interesting research that says the quality level doesn't matter that much to people who are consuming short form video. Obviously, resolution should be clear enough, and it should be legible. If there's audio, it should, not be obnoxious. But because it's such a short commitment of time, the expectation of polish is much lower than it would be with a longer form video. So something to keep in mind, that the powerful part of it is not in the actual quality of it. As educators, we want the quality to be in the content that we're delivering, not necessarily the I guess the delivery itself.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was intending in talking about quality is the actual content. Like,
yeah,
especially where I work currently, we're working in restorative justice.
Okay.
Talking about, restorative practices is such a deep topic that creating a 1 minute video to potentially explain that is challenging.
What I would suggest you think about is a series of short form videos, because then you could break it down into chunks, 1 minute chunks. And every topic can be broken down if you really put your mind to it. So it just becomes a strategy then of what's the most effective way to break it up. All right. Well, thanks for sharing, Amy. Did anybody else want to jump in on this one? I can see Yvonne patiently waiting.
Created a 1 minute video on how to pray. And
Yeah.
it's focused on, something very simple that they can do. And, I didn't go into the details of what to pray for or just how to just get into the mood of prayer and how that makes you feel. And that was all I did. And then it lasted for about a minute. And then I've got some calming music. And another one I did was about the Lord's Prayer. But the thing is, I find that making these 1 minute videos takes more time than when I just make videos for, like, if I'm doing a Zoom lecture or something like that, or even if I'm doing this kind of video, because you got to put, I had to have to put together the scenes just so, and that sort of thing. And so for me, it does take more work, but then the students seem to like the 1-minute videos more than they.
Yeah.
And also for these kind of videos where we're doing a lecture, the YouTube channel tells me the average attention span is about at most 20 minutes. And that's about the same as baby boomers, when they used to accuse baby boomers in the 80s of us watching too much TV, and our attention span is only 10 minutes. In other words, the time it takes for the commercial to come on, and then we don't pay attention. So that the older generation used to make fun of us for that. But yeah, 1-minute videos are very popular. And when I did a 1-minute video on the Lord's Prayer, the meaning of the Lord's Prayer, that got like 100 views. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. And it's a really interesting, like what you're saying, the attention span. I don't even know if attention span is even the right way of looking at it anymore, because we have so much access to the analytics of our YouTube videos. It's not that they can't pay attention for a long time, it's that they don't want to. There's a difference. If you are making a half-hour video and it's full of really meaningful content and it's presented in a way that's engaging, they'll watch the whole thing. But there's this constant check-in happening in a viewer's mind of, am I still interested in what they're saying? If I'm going to move on to the next, because all I have to do is click next and there's another video waiting for me. So we're almost competing for their desire to learn at that point.
That's why I put in music. So
Yeah.
if I make them fall asleep, then at least they want to listen to, so they can go finish the song or something like that. Have a sense of closures when that loop of that song finishes or something like that. So I do put some kind of music in the background to go with the pictures and that sort of thing. So pictures and music. Sometimes I'm not even talking at all. Sometimes it's a 1-minute video, it's just pictures with words on the pictures and then music. That's what I did for how to pray and the Lord's Prayer. I didn't do any talking whatsoever. It was all just stuff. It was just pictures going by with text on it, with picture, and then set to music. That's all I did.
That actually brings up a really good point, because a lot of people who are consuming short form content are on a mobile device in a public place and they don't even have their sound on, right? And so another aspect of this that we can talk about more later is making it work with or without audio. Like that's a whole nother layer of the onion. So I appreciate you bringing that up. All right.
Then you have to have really good graphics, which I put in. Yeah, you got to have some exciting graphics.
Something to look at.
You can't just have words where people are just, I mean, that's a given. Like these graphics, students say that, actually, this is the art I created. So I put that in my Zooms, and then the students really enjoy it.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Yvonne. All right. Did anybody else want to jump in there, or shall we hear some more from Kenna? All right. I think they're ready for you, Kenna.
That sounds good. I'm going to jump into the apply section now. But first, I just wanted to pause for a second and just ask, does anybody have any questions about what we covered in the Learn section? About anything Callista, I, or George spoke about?
You can always use the chat for that too. If you don't feel like unmuting, we'll keep an eye on the chat and try and answer any questions there too.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and jump into the apply section. I'm going to walk you through some of the things that we went over, and I'm going to also give you some tricks and tips about how you can implement these into your practices. I know everybody comes from a different background, so I'm going to just go over a few methods which will hopefully be helpful for you. And as I go through these, just think of some ways that you can apply it for your specific industry, job, or even from an audience perspective, like who are you trying to reach and what are you trying to communicate with them? So videos are an effective way to share information with your audience, whoever that is. And in some cases, though, video may not be the best medium to communicate through, which I will touch on a little bit later, with some different practices that you could potentially go through to reach your audience still. Some other things to think of is whether you are using a video to teach, inform, market a product, tell a story, entertain, or whatever your goal is, they can easily share information with your audience, as we spoke about before. But some of the downsides of this are that they are somewhat difficult to edit, and if the content in your video becomes outdated quickly, or if it's something where the trends will change quickly, then you may have to revisit it and continue to edit it. So that's something to also keep in mind. And as you're going through your design process, you can think of potentially different types of media to use instead of a video that may be easier to edit or may fit the needs of your audience a little bit better. You know, you just have to know that you're going to have to revisit those videos and continuously edit them as things change. So just think of that as you're going through your design process and as you're here today and thinking about how you want to reach your audience and what type of experience you want to give to them as well. All right, so now we're going to talk about some outcomes and reality. So we do want potentially life-changing experiences for learners, which you can achieve with video, or, you know, your audience. Videos can provide bite-sized pieces of information. That's what Callista was mentioning earlier about even chunking information, so it's very easy for your viewers to consume. And that also helps hold the attention span of your audience. I know we spoke about it a little bit before, but I guess maybe we should call it engagement span, but how long your audience actually spends engaged on your video is only about 2 minutes. And after that, they begin to disengage. Again, if it's something that is super engaging and very entertaining for your audience where they do want to be there, of course, they may stay engaged for much longer than that. But that also is a challenge for you as a creator and thinking about the best ways to actually reach your audience and connect with them and hold their attention and engagement for however long you need to make the content. So that those decisions fall to you. So what we're focusing on here today, though, short form content usually works well with this because the time constraint is about 1 to 2 minutes, if even 2 minutes is a little bit long. So just think of that today as well. The reality is that videos may not be the best option. As I mentioned before, if the topic is something that's going to change a lot, you may want to use another type of media besides videos. Or you may not have even enough information to create a comprehensive or effective video for your audience as well. And that really does come into the design process as you're determining the best delivery method, what to cover in your videos, and the needs of your learner as well. All right, now let's dive into the why a little bit. I know I have a lot of bullet points here, and I'm going to go through each one briefly. Some of these whys may seem a little bit basic, but as I go through them, I ask that you consider your audience and what you're trying to communicate to them as I talk about each topic. Some questions to consider are, what do you hope that they gain from this communication? And because communication goes both ways, what do you hope that their response is to whatever information that you're giving them through video? And as you think of this, that really determines throughout the design process, the decisions that you make as well. So first off, we have engagement. Videos are more engaging than text or images, and people are more likely to watch a video than to read a long article or look at a series of images. Videos can convey more information in a shorter amount of time, and time is very valuable to your viewer as well. Videos can tell stories, and videos can be used to create emotional connections with viewers, as well as build trust. Videos can be used to show off products and services. They can be a great way to demonstrate how to do something, or how a product works, or even how something can benefit the viewer. Videos can be used to promote events or activities. They can be used to generate excitement and anticipation for an upcoming event or activity. They can be used to educate and inform. They can be used to teach people about a variety of topics, from how to cook a meal to how to change a tire. They can be used to entertain as well. They can be used to elicit emotions or even prompt people to think in a different way. They can be used to connect with people all over the world, and they are much more likely to be shared on social media or even through interpersonal communications over text or images. And videos can also be used to help promote brand awareness, and they can help create a more personal connection between people or even companies and people, products and people, anything from that perspective as well. It can be used to help boost sales by demonstrating the products and services in a way that's easy to understand and very appealing to customers. And they are pretty cost effective. They, once created, you can share them and they can reach a very large audience, and they can be produced and distributed at a relatively low cost when compared to other marketing methods as well. So I know I went through that pretty fast, but at this point, like I mentioned, please consider what you're trying to communicate to your audience, what their needs are. And I really challenge you to take a new perspective as you consider your audience. As you think of what you have been creating and what has worked with your audience, kind of think of a different perspective or a different way that you can use these tools to connect with your audience, but maybe in a different way than what you have in the past. All right. And now I have a question for you all. When designing content, how do you hope to connect to your audience? And feel free to unmute and share. I'm also curious to know, as you connect with your audience, do you think that your approach is effective and that you have been successful in connecting with your audience, or is there something that maybe is a little disconnected?
I know Yvonne was sharing earlier how she's been using it, but I'd be interested to hear from you, Yvonne, about in reflection, what kinds of feedback have you gotten from your students, and was your goal achieved in how you were connecting with them?
Well, I haven't really gotten, I just get feedback like, thank you so much for your prayer video. It really changed my life. I now pray more, or something like that. So I have gotten that kind of, they're very grateful. And so they enjoy the video. So that was, so far, that's only one student responded. So I don't know if I can base on just one student, but I think she seemed to like it. So I don't know. So maybe somebody else who's more in background is in this field could answer that question.
Yeah. Anybody else? I see you thinking, Amy.
Yeah, we haven't used short form video yet.
Okay.
That's part of the reason why I'm here, is to learn more about short form, because I think it might be more beneficial. We for our employees. So our audience, my audience, is the employees that work with within the org that I'm with. And a lot of them are college students, still, and they don't really have a lot of time. So during our onboarding process, there are these lengthy videos that we do have explaining different topics and things that they really need to know. And I feel like a lot of times they check out.
Yeah.
And so what we're seeing is that those are important things for them to know and to grasp. But then when they're on site working for us, they are not implementing them because they don't remember them. We've had, I'll give you an example. Last year, we did 4 trainings on the same topic, just in different ways, because there wasn't. So I'm looking for, and I'm hoping that this content will engage them a little more. It'll be easier for them to digest, and something they can easily come back to if they need to. Yeah. So I'm really hoping for that engagement aspect to get them to remember and engage with what we call the 5 R's of restorative justice.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited to see what you whip up today. We've got a comment from Kathy in the chat that says, I would like to learn to create and post short videos for our company, a home builder. Not much experience yet, but to increase engagement and sales. That's great. And then Scott shares, I feel you need to make it engaging and impactful, not just passing along information, but rather enjoy and remember in a positive view. Yes, yes, yes. That's very good. Okay. Yvonne says LinkedIn has training videos the last 1 or 2 minutes and they chunk their material in 1 or 2 minute videos. Yeah, that's true. And that's because they know about this strategy. So let's see. You have a little bit more to share here, Kenna?
Yes, I do. All right. So now that we've addressed the why behind it, and you're considering and thinking about all of these things as you think about your audience as well, I'm going to address the how. And we will probably not talk about too many of these today, but these can be ideas for you in the future as you're making short form content, or if one of these does strike you today, feel free to use this for your in the design portion of the webinar. So my question to you as I go through this section is, as you consider your audience, their needs, and your goals, how will you bring all of that together in the design process and as you make your content as well? So think about that as I go through this section and kind of make the connections from the why to the how, while also taking into consideration your audience, your needs, and your goals. So first we have explainer videos. Explainer videos are short videos that explain a product, service, concept, or anything of the sort in a very clear and concise way. And they're often used for marketing or sales purposes. We use them a lot in education as well. But think of this as just an explanation with animations as well. So the next one we have is a how-to video. How-to videos show the viewers how to do something, how to carry out a process, or how to complete a task. And they're often also used for educational purposes. I know that those two sound similar, but think of it as how-to, you're actually showing how to do something. Explainer is just making connections between visuals and words of a concept in a way, if that makes sense. But feel free to unmute and let me know if it doesn't make sense, or chime in the chat if you would like further explanation on that. Next, we have product videos, and this is also often used in marketing. They can showcase a product in detail, show how to use it, and help the viewers make connections between what the product is and how it can be helpful in their life. Next is testimonial videos. Testimonial videos usually feature people who have used a product or service and are happy with it. I don't know about you, but I don't think I've ever seen a testimonial video where the person was unhappy with what they experienced. Next, we have case study videos, and these are used to provide a scenario or some situation where even the viewer may be asked to help chime in and show how to solve the problem. Sometimes that's a cool way that you can approach it, but overall, it's just a situation or a scenario where it provides context for a problem, and then you can show how to solve the problem if you'd like. Next, we have interview videos. These can be used to show off something about the person that you're interviewing, or a topic, or anything of that sort, but usually it features people talking about their experiences or expertise, those types of things. Next, we have vlog videos. They're often used to show somebody's personal life or experiences, and they can be used to build a brand or connect in different ways with the viewers. Next, we have storytelling. These are used to elicit emotions in the viewers, and oftentimes it does share a personal story or even a personal topic from whoever is sharing. And we also have meditation. This kind of aligns with Yvonne's video that she mentioned about showing how to pray. But these types of videos often coach a viewer through an exercise or practice and gives them tips on how to carry it out as well. And overall, these are just a few examples of what you could do. There are so many different types of videos and just different content that's out there. So the cool thing with video is, like I mentioned before, they're pretty easy to make. They don't cost a whole lot to make or distribute, and the possibilities are endless. Callista's definitely going to touch on some of the different topics and different practices for making videos, and there are so many templates and different things that Canva offers as well, so she'll touch on that in her section a little bit. But the possibilities are endless, so if you have an idea, I would say just go for it and try it. So I do have some examples for you here. I have 2 QR codes for you. One is of our IM gallery, and that features a lot of the different instructional media that our team has made. Shout out to Callista and the design team. They're amazing and so creative. But if you scan that QR code with your phone, you can go ahead and view the IM gallery and see some of the different things that have been created. And we also have a QR code for our YouTube channel, and we do have some short form content on there, some longer form content. It's really just a mix of everything that we've done on the digital learning solutions team. So it's a lot of media for students, some different webinars that we've done as well. But it's a great just list of examples that we have for you as well. So feel free to grab those QR codes and you can peruse at your leisure.
I will say the IM gallery doesn't have a ton of short form video in it because that's all on our YouTube channel. But it's still fun to look at all the different things that you can put or use for learning.
Definitely. And then I do have another question for you all. The first question is, how have you implemented videos so far? And then what worked and what didn't, and did you face any challenges? Feel free to type in the chat or unmute, and I really encourage you to share because your feedback on this question will kind of shape what we cover in the design portion of the webinar. So if you have specific pain points or anything that you want us to touch on, now's the time to chime in.
Yes, I'm super interested in hearing any pain points, or even if your pain point is that you're just scared to get started. Like, I'd like to know more about why that might be.
Well, I've tried a few short timed videos, and the first challenge was getting the content concise enough to fit within a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the biggest challenge I've really had is then uploading them to where I want them to be. So, yeah. For instance, at LAPU, I might make this short video and I want to put it in announcement tab. And maybe I have to try 4 or 5 times before I get it done. So just that learning curve, how to do something very clear and concise and engaging, and then uploading.
All right. Thank you for sharing. Yes, those are all things we're going to talk about today for sure. But I hear you on the learning curve, especially if video is not a format you've ever worked with before, or it in the past seemed very daunting because of the tools that you needed to use in order to create the content. That's one of the major reasons why I'm so passionate about using Canva, because it's literally drag and drop. They designed their entire interface to be drag and drop, and there's really no easier way to work when it comes to design. And I mean, I've used every software I've ever gotten my hands on over the last, I'm not going to say how many years, but it's been a few years. And, you know, using professional industry grade software like, I think After Effects is probably my favorite Adobe product for creating video. And that is a software, when you open it, you have no idea what to do first. You don't know where to start. There's no easy way to figure it out. You have to take a class or, you know, read the book, the user manual, and that's just to get started. With Canva, you just open it, start with one of their amazing templates, and you're off to the races in less than 5 minutes. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Let's see, Scott added something in the chat. It says perception versus reality of content. In other words, trying to get information to hit home from the viewer's perspective versus the creator or SME point of view. Yes, that's a good point. And that is something that comes with practice, especially someone who's been working in a learning profession, especially if you are a faculty or a teacher where you're used to lecturing and you have a full hour to convey a concept to a class. Trying to boil things down into 60 seconds takes some practice. It's like George said in his previous video, it's like fitness, right? It's starting somewhere, you know, just doing it and then doing it again and tweaking as you go to see what you're learning, right? You're learning through the process too. So you have the knowledge, you have the content. Now you're taking the time to sit in the learner position and learn a new skill, a new software, so that you can convey all that knowledge and learning that you have to someone who's wanting to hear it. And that's another thing I want to mention too, is like, if you have something to share, I guarantee there's an audience out there who wants to hear it. So putting it out into the world is step one, but you are providing value to somebody somewhere. And so taking that mental perspective will help squash any feelings you might have of imposter syndrome, or that what you have to share isn't valuable. I promise you it is. Even if it seems small, it's going to impact someone. So I always vote for go for it. Don't not do the thing because you're scared. Just do it scared.
I have two
Yeah.
things to kind of contribute on this question. So one, I started my instructional design career as a classroom teacher, and then I left the classroom in December of 19 and started my instructional design career on March 2nd. So we all know of 2020, and we all know what happened shortly after. So I very quickly had to get over being on camera and recording, because my best way to connect with faculty was through video and like sending them through email or doing them on Teams or whatever. So that was one thing that kind of didn't have a choice. It was just that you have to do it. And then another way that I've been doing this, and I'm on the job market currently. And so in my portfolio, like I showcase like some of the work that I've done through video. But I think one of my pain points there is like shortening it to where it's like I talk and I try and be concise, but it's like they still end up with like a couple minutes as well, because it's like, how do you showcase a couple different things and then move from the before to the after? So anyways, that's where I currently am in my current position. Like I don't do a lot of videos. I encourage them for the faculty, but I also warn them, like, you only have so much time in the development cycle, that like don't feel like you have to do a video for all 8 modules. Like you just do it for a welcome video or something to get them started. But so anyways, but those are my kind of points that I have to this.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, definitely a major driver of this whole phenomenon has been the pandemic and everyone being driven to screens for that human connection that we couldn't have back in 2020, you know, and it had a lasting impact, obviously. I mean, here we are 3 years later, and this delivery format has only gotten bigger and more widespread. So it's an important thing to have in your toolbox, right? Yeah. All right. Anybody else before we're going to take our first break here in a minute. We know that this is a longer workshop, so we want to make sure we build some breaks into it for you so you can walk around and stretch a little bit. So if no one else wants to share, maybe we can take our first break, Kenna.
Yeah, that sounds great. Here we go.
And I will go ahead and set a timer. We'll do, let's do a 5-minute break here. Let's see. Where are my screen tools? Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. There we go. Okay. Oh, it's over here. I'm still getting used to the Canva presentation settings, but it has this very fun timer that I can add. There we go. As you'll see on this break screen, we have a QR code that feel free to scan that. We are launching a new CBE program, which means competency-based education. It's a master's degree in instructional design and technology, which is very applicable to what we're talking about today. So go ahead and take a look at that, and we'll see you back here in 5 minutes. All right, we'll give everybody a chance to come back before we get our design demo going. Okay. For those of you who are here today, I'm hoping you will work alongside me while I'm doing the demo, because I definitely want to see the stuff that you create today. If you don't want to work alongside me and you just want to listen, but you've maybe dabbled in this already and have some projects that you've worked on prior to, feel free to share those with me in the feedback portion, because I'm happy to provide any feedback that you're looking for today, is basically what I'm trying to say. So let's see here. Anna says she couldn't hear the timer music, so sorry if you couldn't hear it. I thought everyone could hear it. Let's go ahead and get Canva open. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and switch over. Okay. Get this going. Okay, now I gotta reshare my screen. Here we go. Thank you for bearing with me as I get switched over. So we have a lot that we can talk about today in terms of actual making of the videos. And I know we've got some people who played with it before and some who haven't. So I'm going to do a somewhat quick overview of the interface. But first, I want to show you a short form video that we made for one of our psychology courses. So I'm going to go ahead and play this for you.
Cultural humility is a practice of approaching people from different cultures with an attitude of respect and a willingness to learn. When entering a relationship with another person, your intention is to honor their beliefs, customs, and values. It involves acknowledging and challenging your own cultural biases or assumptions, as well as becoming aware of power imbalances based on things like culture, race, or ethnicity. Cultural humility is not about being an expert on other cultures, but recognizing that each person's experiences and perspectives are unique and valuable. It aims to promote mutual understanding, trust, and collaboration. You must realize that you cannot possibly know everything and approach relationships with openness and curiosity.
All right. So I'm curious if anybody has any initial reactions. I know for me, when I started working in short form, I was actually surprised at how much I could cover in 60 seconds. But But yeah, if anybody wants to unmute or put in the chat what their first thoughts were after seeing that, I'd be very interested to hear what you thought. Kenna or Alyssa or Grace, feel free to share as well. I know you've seen that one before, but that's okay. Okay, Kathy is saying it's short, sweet, and effective. Amy says it's very formal. Stephanie says, I thought the images were clear, the transitions were smooth, the wording on the screen was easily visible. Great, those are definitely things I would expect you to say. And to answer to the formal comment, we do have some more polish on the ones that we put in our courses versus the ones that we're just uploading to YouTube. Our department kind of functions in a lot of different ways. And so since this one is in a course, it's got a little more polish to it. Yvonne, I would love to learn how to make a video like that. Well, great, because that's what we're going to do right now. I'm literally going to talk you through how I made that specific video. So I think I'd like to start with just an overview of how this page is laid out and all the tools that are here for you. So if you've never opened a Canva video project before, you go to the home page. It looks like this, more or less. I mean, these are my designs down here, but this part up here looks the same for everybody. I do have the Pro features. So if you don't have access to Pro, you'll see little golden crowns on the things that are for Pro features. I'll do my best to focus on the freebie stuff, but you can, it's still good to know what's available to you just in case you decide to upgrade your account. So for today, we're going to click on this little video icon. You'll notice there's a lot of confetti happening because they're celebrating a 10-year anniversary, which is kind of fun. So I'm going to click on video, and they give you all these different options as starting points. What we want for today is mobile video, but they have them broken down into different platforms as well. But mobile video also works for all of the same platforms. I think they just try to make it super, super easy for you to feel like you can get started. So today we're going to click on mobile video. So it will bring up a blank canvas for you. If you are already super creative and have a clear idea of what you want to make, you can start from scratch just by building in different elements or uploading your own video content. For this one, I used a starting template, which was this one right here. It's called Modern Black Yellow Cycling Headline News Mobile Video. Some of these templates have mouthfuls for titles, and that's because Canva has a very specific metadata naming convention that they like to use. And so you'll notice in their templates, they tend to describe the style, the prominent colors. If there is a specific topic for the template, that will be in there as well. And then it'll also have the format. So this is mobile video, it says mobile video. That's a quick way to scan through the template library for what you're looking for. Those would be the search terms that would bring up this specific template. So for this one, it's got 2 page layouts. I'll say apply both, and that'll automatically load them into my timeline down here. So I can close that. Now for mine, look at that, there's a typo, how funny. Let's see here, I'll pull mine up. So I changed the title to say cultural humility. So we'll do that. Cultural humility. Now this one needs a resize. All you got to do is click and drag to get it where you want it. Very easy. If I want to make sure it's centered, I click on position center, and now it snaps to the center. And then we have some branding that we like to stick with when we're doing the more polished. So I'll go into my brand tab here, and I want to change this yellow to my blue. I can just click on my brand colors and it'll auto load them. If I don't like what it did automatically, I can shuffle it and see what other options it'll give me. And it's only going to use this color palette. All right, I'm not getting what I want, so I'm going to undo that. Let's see, how did I do it over here? I think I kept the black and I just manually changed the blue. So if I select this, I go to effects because it's got a background effect on the text. And here is where I can change the color to my blue. And then I need to change the text color to white. Oh, try it again. There we go. All right, that's looking just how I want it. I got rid of this template item, which was a website. And we've got another yellow bar down here. So I'm going to change that to my brand color, blue. Okay, so now that's looking very good. The only thing left to change is this background video. So let's see. I wonder if there's a way to look at. Okay, there's some cool things we can do with these stock videos as well. And I'll try to make sure to talk about it. But since I'm looking at it right now, there's a pro feature that they've added for videos where you can one-click remove the background of your video. And that is a really amazing tool. Like, I don't think people even realize how amazing that is. Back in when I was learning how to do video editing, if you wanted to remove the background in a video, you had to create a mask by hand, like click, 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 click around your subject in order to remove the background. And then on every frame of the video, you had to adjust it. It was so tedious. Now you can do it with one click. So if you have need for that, just play with this little button if you have access to the pro feature. It's really cool. Okay, so my video, I'm not sure how to look up the exact video. So what I'm going to do is just search for an element. I can scroll down to videos, see all, and we'll just look for an office scene. Okay, I'll pull this one over because it's just a background. It's not super important what's going on. It's more just for visual interest. Now, when I pull that video in, it's a 15-second clip. I definitely don't want this slide to be 15 seconds. In fact, here I only have it for 3. So the easiest way is just to drag it over so that it's 3 seconds. So down here in your timeline, that's where you're going to do most of your manual work, is as in terms of clipping and cropping things. And it's really, really simple. The other way I could have done it, they've added in a newer splice feature. So I can go to where I want to clip it, which is 3 seconds. I can right click and say split page, and that's going to make a cut right there. And so I can just delete this now, or, you know, there's lots of different ways to skin a cat, or so they say. An even other way to do it is to edit the length of the video clip itself. So if I have the video clip selected, I can go up here, and this is going to show me the entirety of the clip. And then this is how much of it I'm using. So say I want 3 seconds, but I don't want this 3 seconds. I want this 3 seconds. I just drag it over and then click done. So now those are the 3 seconds of the clip that I'm seeing. Okay, is there anything else here I want to share? I think that's it for that one. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So we jumped. Okay, our second slide. We've got this video, the blue bar, and this text. Okay, so the template starts us off here. I'm going to get rid of this little guy because I didn't use it. I'm going to change this bar to blue again. Oh, now the blue is up here in my used colors, so it's even easier to get to. This font Okay, so something I did here, I did the video first. So we'll say they looked like happy coworkers to me. We'll see what comes up with that. Any video that like captures the essence of what's being said on the page will work in a video like this. I just encourage that it's actually relevant to the content because you don't want it to become disjointed and distracting. So look for a more seamless correlation between what they're seeing and what they're reading or hearing. So what did our quote say? It says, a practice of approaching people from different cultures with an attitude of respect and willingness to learn. So this would be a great video clip. There's a somewhat diverse group of people working together, and they seem to be enjoying that process. So I'm gonna click and drag that in. Now, this is a horizontal video. If I just want to look for verticals, I can click on vertical, and then it will only show me vertical videos, which in this sense will save me the hassle of dealing with cropping of things that I wanted to show, because these are already framed the way I want them to be framed. So let's see if I can find one that's vertical. Let's see, maybe this one would be better. Oops. If I click and drag it and it doesn't snap, I can just right click and say replace background. Well, that didn't work, did it? Let me see, maybe it's underneath here. Oh yeah, it just went underneath the other video. Okay, so that's a handy little shortcut. And then I'll copy and paste my text here. Normally I start from just a text document script, so I'd be copying and pasting my text from that. I don't need the little text, so I'm just gonna do that. We'll pull her down here. We'll make her white. And then I'm noticing on this one, I took off the gradient that's happening down here. So let's see. Do I have that filter turned on? I'm going to see if it's just a different layer. Okay, it's its own layer. So if you go to position and then click on layers, you'll see everything that's on your screen. So I've got this little gradient here, which for this design, I decided it wasn't doing a good enough job of making my text legible. So I removed it. And instead, I went to the text layer itself and added the background effect. And then I lowered the transparency a little bit. And I think I also took off the roundness. Yeah, I took off the roundness so it's more square because that fits better with our branding. And so now it's more legible. I'm going to make it a little darker. And you can play with the spread of it, which just makes it farther away or closer to the actual text. So I'm going to go somewhere right in the middle. I like the way that looks. And now we have the length of the clip again. When you have text on the screen, you want to make sure that it's on there long enough for them to read it. 5 seconds is usually a good starting point. If it's a lot of text, you'll have to make it longer. But a general rule of thumb is if it takes longer than 5 seconds to read it, it's probably too much text on the screen. So, use that as your way of checking in with yourself of, am I putting too much text on my screen? So this one, we went 5.4 seconds. So I will do this 5.4. And let's see, do I want this section? Ooh, my video is running really slow because I'm sharing my screen. So pretend that that's super clear, because if I wasn't sharing my screen, it would be. Okay, I'll say that slide is done. And then, this whole thing ended up being 51 seconds with the different slides, but I want to jump to adding audio, because really you're just going to be seeing me do the same thing over and over again with each of these slides. Before I do audio, I will mention this 1 second black at the end. I do add that so that there's a seamless fade out. So I'll make it a 1 second black screen. And then I'll add this transition. We'll say for this one, I'll do a dissolve. So it's like a short little dissolve. And then it's fading out to a black screen, which is nice. There are video editing features where you can add like a fade in and a fade out. Where is that? Is that on the playback? Oh, maybe it's not that. Anyways, this is the way I like to do it. I think there's a couple different ways you can achieve a fade in or a fade out, but I've had the best luck as far as like polish with this method of just having it fade out to a short black frame. And then that ensures that any music that you add will have time to fade out with the imagery too. So I'm going to go ahead and add audio to my video now. Let's see, which one did I use here? This blue track is my audio track. Let's see. I don't remember which track I used here.
Cultural humility is a
There's a way to look at it. What is it? Well, it doesn't matter if I use the same one. I'll just find one. Okay, elements. And if you scroll down, you'll see audio here. See all. Now, I will say a lot of the audio built into Canva is pro. And the reason for that is because there's licensing involved. But there are still a lot of really great options in terms of free music. So I want this to be, I want it to be upbeat, but I kind of want it also to be more, I don't know if corporate is the word I'm looking for. Let's go with motivation. Motivational instrumental, because some of the clips do have like some singing in it, and I definitely don't want any singing in it because I have narration in this video. So let's see. Oh, this first one here is free. Let's hear it. That's not really the vibe I'm going for. So let's see. That's kind of intense. Yeah, let's just do, oh, cool. You can search for free ones now. I don't know if you could do that before. That's another thing I'll mention. Canva is always adding new features to their UI and to their apps. It's like constant. So sometimes I'll be in here and I'll find something that wasn't there a week ago. So if you hear me say, oh, that's new, it's because it's literally new. And I haven't used it before because it's so new to me. Okay, so let's see. Warm climate. I think I'm going to go in more. I'm just going to go with that beat. I wish I could remember the name of the track. That's one thing that I don't know off the top of my head is like how to just look at the track information. I know there's a way to do it. It's just escaping me right now. These are all things I've recently used. Okay. That's fine. We'll just pick. Ooh, that is very loud. These are so loud. Okay, that'll work. Okay, I'm going to click on this one and stick it in my document down here. Oops. My little scrub bar was all the way to the end. That's why it jumped to where my scrub bar was. So I can just move that and then get it. Okay, I need to, here's a little trick. If you need to make your timeline things bigger so you can click them easier, you click on this. So right now the zoom is set to this part of my page. If I click here, it makes the zoom affect my timeline bar. So that is helpful when I'm trying to click on things that are small. Okay, so now I've got that. I want my audio to start right away. So I'm going to double click and drag it over so that silence gets cut out. And then I'm going to go to audio effects and add just a short little fade in. That should be good. And we'll do we'll do a half a second. I'll match it to my end frame, which is 0.8 seconds. So my audio will fade out with this frame here. And then I definitely need to affect the volume because I thought that was pretty loud. So we'll bring it down. And I'll adjust this as I add my narration, just so I make sure it's not competing too much with the narration. Yvonne says, can we upload our own audio tracks? Yes, you can. If you have an audio track you want to use, you just drag and drop it onto your document and it'll add it into your upload folder. So I actually have in my upload folder, there's an audio tab, and these are all the things that I've ever uploaded for my projects. So a lot of my audio files are actually the narration files. Sometimes I narrate things myself. Sometimes I use AI voices from Well Said. We have a subscription with Well Said. And of all the AI voices I've ever used, that one is the best quality that I've ever come across. I'm sure there's others now that are competitive, but it's worked really well for our needs so far. And this one in particular, I did use an AI voice. I'm trying to remember which file it was. Cultural humility. Oh, that makes sense. So I should be able to find it in here. There it is. If I click, well, I want to move my scrub bar to the beginning so that when I click it, it's at the beginning. Okay. I like to have my narration on top of my music, but it doesn't really matter. When I click onto my project board up here, it minimizes my audio files. And when I click on the audio files, it expands them. So if you see them get real small, don't panic. You just got to click on them. So let's hit play and see how our volume sounds.
Cultural humility is a practice of approaching people from different cultures.
Okay, that background music's still too loud. It's, in my opinion, it's competing too much. It's just there as a subtle like energy giver. So it doesn't need to be super duper loud.
Humility is a practice of approaching people from different cultures with an attitude of respect and a willingness to learn.
All right, that sounds pretty good. As far as background music goes, this track that I've chosen is still kind of distracting in my opinion because it's got a lot of stuff going on. I tend to pick things that are more subtle. So I would probably go pick a different one for this. But for the sake of learning, it's fine for now. Let's see. What do I want to do now? Okay, we talked about split and splicing. The cool thing about the split and splice as well is like, say my animation on my text here ended right there. So that's where I want the split to happen. I can do that. But say I want to use this still, maybe just change out the text. I can do that. So I like the background to stay the same, but I want just the text to change. I would split that track and then put in my new text right there. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Let's talk about the animation that's happening here. So this text has an animation assigned to it. This is your animate tab here. When you click it, it brings up this menu. And you have lots of options. And they've even added an app where you can create your own animations now. These are more for objects that you want to have them move across the screen. So like in the thumbnail, you see this little bee and this flight pattern that they've drawn. So that's literally like they took their cursor, drew a squiggle, and then attached the bee graphic to it. And then it travels. It's called like a motion path. We don't want to do that with our text. We just want to stick with a basic, this one has ascend on it, which makes the words pop up. You can set it to do that on enter or exit or both. I can control the speed of it. So say I want it to go slower, I just make it slower. If I want it to go faster, it can go faster. And I also can change the direction. I can change whether it goes up by word or line. I tend to go with line most of the time, just so there's not quite so much animation happening. And then it also has this cool feature where say you want it to come in going upward, but you want it to exit going out. So you toggle this little button and it will do that automatically.
From different
So it
cultures
comes
with
in,
an attitude of respect
and then it
and a
drops out.
willingness to learn.
So you can play with those for sure. And they've got really a lot of options. I tend to, in a video like this, choose the ones that are more on the subtle side, especially when you're wanting them to read the text. The more subtle, the better. You just want it to happen. You want them to read, and then you don't want it to distract them any further after that. But depending on your audience and the subject matter, it can be fun to play with more of these options. And these animations can apply to text, or they can apply to the whole page. So say I want all of the elements on my page to animate in sequence. They've already created some packaged combinations of things. So let's see, if I go to this page, it doesn't have an animation set to it, but if I wanted to do a whole page animation, I could just hover over these. If I click on it, it's going to assign it to the page. So to preview what it would look like, I just hover. And I mean, these all look really good to me. Any of them would work. Some are better than others, but I really like the simple ones. I'm going to stick with that. So now when they start the video,
Cultural
it's got that
humility
really
is a practice
smooth
of
little
approaching people from
animation.
different cultures.
And then I like to add transitions too. So if you click in between your clips, it gives you the option to add a page or a transition. So say you were working out of order, you could add a page here and be like, oh, I forgot to add this. Really easy to fix that. Also, if you created it over here and decided you wanted that to go first, you could just click and drag it in the timeline, and that will reorder it as well. Oh, that's funny. It brought the transition with it. That's cool. Okay, I'll put that back. So lots of transition options. I really like the flow option. This match and move one is a beta, which means that they are still developing this technology. But one of my favorite things about Canva and their development team is that they iterate. They're not afraid to launch a product that's not fully fleshed out yet. So you'll get this beta marker, and that means we're still working on it, but we want you to be able to play with it now. And they'll gather feedback while it's out in the wild. And so they'll continue working on the capabilities for that feature, which is really cool. I love iterative design. I think it's the only way to design personally. So for this one, I think I'm going to do a color wipe. Slide looks good too. Circle wipe looks okay. But I really like color wipe. So for this one, I have a lot of control. Do I want it to be 1 second shorter or longer? Which direction do I want it to wipe in? I have lots of control there. And it gives me up to 4 colors to choose from or to control. So this one is my brand color, and it just auto selected 3 other variations of that color. So it kind of looks like a gradient when it wipes, but I can go ahead and make that any of my other colors, or I can do a custom color. So just going to be a rebel and add some pink in there and drive our marketing team absolutely crazy. So now my color wipe has
Approaching people
lots of colors in it. So that's kind of a fun way to add some interest into the video. And let's see, what else did I want to talk about? Oh, they just recently added something that I thought was super necessary. Captions. You can now go into File, View Settings, Show Captions on Media. And what that will do, oops, I unselected it, sorry, is that if there's any spoken words, so in this case, our narration, it's going to encode it with closed captioning automatically for you. And
humility is
I believe by clicking on the show, that it's going to do that on the export. But I will say this literally just came out like on Monday, so I haven't I haven't exported anything with it yet. So I can't tell you that I've tested it, but I can tell you that it's an option now. Before, I would have to export my video, upload it to YouTube, and then add my CC over there, which is still a good workflow, because if it's going to go live on YouTube, you want to make sure that those transcripts are available. But for these short form videos, if you're just going to upload it to social media, you can have your closed captions already embedded in there, which solves that issue of if they're watching it without their audio turned on, now they can read it. For this particular project, I have all of my key bits of information written out on the screen already. So I might not want the CC to be up the whole time. But for a video where it's just like a talking head, that's a really great feature. It'll just do it for you. Click of a button. That's kind of their whole philosophy at Canva. It's like, if we can do it in one click, great. Okay, so some other things you should probably know. We can do some cropping of our background images, resizing and flipping. So if I select this video, my options up here allow me to crop, flip. I don't really have a need for a background color here, but the flipping, you can do a horizontal flip or a vertical flip. I wouldn't do that here because then our will disappear and we're upside down. But if you, for some reason, wanted your text to be right aligned and it was covering up someone's face, you could try flipping it over to see if that solves that problem. In this case, we're at the bottom, so it's not that bad. Then you can also click on crop, which allows you to rotate freely in these ways, which sometimes can solve issues with what's showing and what's not. If I zoom out, I should be able to see my corners, which have my editing controls. So I can click and drag those. I can click and drag the whole piece. I can really have some freedom here of what do I want to show and what do I want to crop out. So there's that. In the edit video, I can also play with the effects on the video. So there's filters you can apply. If I want to give it all a treatment so that all my video clips kind of look like they go somewhat together, filters can help create a visual cohesiveness. I'm not going to do a filter for this one, but say I thought there was maybe too much contrast in this particular clip. I can go ahead and pull that down, and that's going to lower my contrast, or I can beef up the highlights and shadows. I have quite a bit of control here. I can even tint the whole thing a different color, which wouldn't necessarily make sense for this video, but I could see lots of applications for that, especially things that are geared towards younger students or younger users. I know not all of our users are students. I go into learner mode because that's my expertise. You've got vibrance, saturation, like it's really colorful when you put that up. X process gives you kind of like an old, like a more vintage feel. And then vignettes add like a little hint of shadow around the edges. All right, I've thrown a lot at you. Does anybody have any questions, or are you seeing any buttons on the screen that you don't know what they do and you want me to talk about it? You can put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself. That would be fine as well. I'm here to answer your questions. So please tell me, what do you want to know? Kenna, can you think of anything I haven't touched yet either? Oh, I know one thing. I could talk about beat sync. Okay, so for our background audio, since it doesn't have any words, it does have a one thing people like to do is edit to the beat of music. So if I click on the music track and click on beat sync, it has two options. One, you can toggle the showing of these beat markers. So if you see these little white notches, that's Canva using AI to show you where the best places to cut are. So if you're trying to time it to the music, you would use these little white notches to like, okay, I'm going to cut here. So it cuts to that like a beat. If you have the pro account, you can click this button and it'll try its best to auto sync the page elements to hit those beats for you. It's not perfect, but it does do a pretty good job. And then if you just want to go in and tidy it up and make sure it does exactly what you want it to do, at least some of the work was already done. There's a question about saving projects. The cool thing about Canva is that you're working in the cloud and it is constantly saving for you. So this little icon here is telling me that all my changes have been saved. So everything I've done up to this point is saved and I don't have to worry about losing any of my progress. So if I were to go back to my homepage right now, it should be the top design on my recent design tab. So I can just go back into it from here. Click that, it reopens, and all my work is still intact. Easy peasy. A pro feature here is the resize. So say I decided, you know what, I don't want this to be vertical. I want it to be horizontal for some reason. I could go and select a different size. And then if I don't want to destroy what I've made, I can make a copy of the resized version. If I don't care about saving it in its current form, I can just click resize and it'll keep me in this document. If I click copy and resize, it'll open a second document. And now it's automatically resized, which is super cool. But because I changed the size of it, it's auto detecting that it's no longer a vertical video. And it's going to treat it as a presentation now, which kind of changes the look and feel and some of the options and template suggestions. So just something to consider. But for this case, we're going to stick with our vertical format because that's what we're doing today. All right. Any other questions? If we don't have any more questions, I do want to give you guys some time to create something, even if it's just a short something. I would encourage you, if you're not already, to think about something you can make right now for your, if you have any clientele, any students, something that would be a quick, easy learning video for them. Yvonne's asking, should we only do mobile videos for students? So I would say no. You can definitely play with all the video formats depending on what it is you're trying to achieve. One of the things we are trying to do more of in our courses at LAPU is to present chunked information in vertical format because that's what students are consuming when they're on social media or YouTube. And so we're trying to make that connection for them that, hey, this is that kind of material. If you click on this vertical video, it's going to be, you know, similar to what you would see on TikTok. So whether or not they're thinking that consciously, their brain is going to make that connection. Like vertical video, it's going to be short, sweet, and punchy. And then if it's not short, sweet, and punchy, they might be like, oh, bait and switch. So make sure you're using the format that fits what your content actually is. So keep that in mind when you're starting off. That's a great question. Okay, let me look at my list real quick and make sure I didn't skip anything that I wanted to show you. And then, yeah. Okay, so I think for right now, I'll do a quick mention of the exporting process. And also I want to mention the collaboration features. So if you click on share, You can grant specific people access to your document. You can even create a team that you can invite people to be a part of within Canva, where anything you create in that team is going to be accessible to those specific people. The other thing you can do is change this collaboration feature. So right now, this project is locked. Only I can access it. If I click on this drop-down menu, I can make it accessible to the team that I'm part of, or I can make it accessible to anyone who I give the link to. Now I can change this too to say anyone with the link can view it, can comment on it, or can have full editing access to it. So like right now, I'll make it so you guys can comment on it. I'll copy that link and I'll put it in the chat. And if you click that link that I just put in the chat, it should pop up for you. Let's see what happens when I do it. Yeah, so it's actually going to bring you in to Canva, and you see this little comment button. You can, oh, look, I see Kenna's cursor moving around. You can click add a comment and leave me your thoughts. And it allows you to mention me so that it'll email me. It allows you to add emojis or stickers. So that's a really fun feature for, boosting collaboration. If you're a teacher, you can give that link to your students and they can come in here and add comments on the video and say, like, the video itself, you prompt them to leave a comment here and to say something about what they just heard. Like, this could be almost like a discussion format if you wanted it to be. And then if I clicked on edit excess, you could open that and actually start, making changes to the document. These 4 buttons here are quick options. I don't think you can change them. I think they're always these 4. So if I click on Instagram, it's saying, this is a vertical video. There's a good chance you're going to want to export this and put it on Instagram. So if I click that, it's going to ask me, do you want to immediately post it from the mobile app, or do you want to schedule it out from your desktop? And so those are some options that you have within Canva to create a schedule for your posts if you're doing a lot of them. You can present from here. It gives you a lot of presentation options. That's what I used earlier when I was presenting our other presentation. The template link is super cool. So if I wanted my students or clients or whoever to be able to utilize this as a template, I just click template link, create the template link. Now they will have to create a Canva account to use a Canva template, but it's like sign in with Google. It's one click almost, right? If I copy this and paste that in the chat here, when you click it, it looks like this. A template created by Callista Dawson was shared with you. Start designing now. So I can actually click play and it will preview this. For some reason it's cropping it, but that's okay. So I can see what's in here just by clicking the preview. And then I can say, yeah, I do want to use this template. So I click use, and now it's made a copy of my working file for you to have. That's pretty cool. Also very useful in the online classroom. Okay, public view link. So I actually use the public view link a lot for presentations that I want to provide to people. It's similar to anyone with the link can view, but instead of bringing them into Canva, it gives them access to a published web-based version of it. So here's what that would look like. There's the link. If you click it, now it's put it into this like player. So it feels more like a YouTube video that's full screen. And then you can click play.
Cultural humility is a practice of approaching people from different cultures with an attitude of respect.
Somebody's watching it. I'm going to go ahead and mute you so you can keep watching that. Okay. When you're in the live view, you can report a problem here. You can share it by copying the link. You can go in and out of full screen, or you can go back to the Canva homepage. Okay. And let's see, is there anything else I wanted to cover here? Okay, so you've got some more options here on the export. You can do a download, share on social, or print. This is obviously not something we're designing for print, but if we were making a print project, they actually have a way for you to print through a print service, which is really cool. And then on the more, there's like a bunch of stuff you can do here. And I would encourage you to just look and see what's available. You can make it a website. You can get the embed code to embed it directly into an HTML editor on your website or in your LMS. You can copy to your clipboard. You can generate a QR code that will bring people to this. Lots and lots of things you can do here. Notice, because I made the template link and public link public, there it says that it's live now. And so that's like a little indicator for me to know that this link is out in the world and people can look at this. And then I can turn that off if I want to by deleting the public view link at any time. Okay, any questions about sharing before I give you another break? Again, you can put it in the chat or you can just unmute if you want to chit chat with me. Either way. Are we all feeling good so far? Have we all learned something new today? So much to remember, yes. Don't worry, I'm recording. It will go up on our YouTube channel if you ever need to refresh. We have our previous one up there as well, and I went ahead and added like chapters to it, so it's easy to jump from section to section. So if you just need a refresh on a certain feature, we've got some chapter markers in there so that you're not scrubbing through 2 hours worth of video. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, let's go ahead and take another break. This break, I'm going to make 10 minutes so that you can both, go get a drink of water, use the bathroom, or do a little more work on your project that hopefully you are planning to share with me so I can give you feedback. All right, everyone. Hopefully you had a nice little break as you're all coming back to join me. If you have something you'd like to share and get feedback on, feel free to add it to the chat. I see a couple are already in there. Thank you so much for doing that. We're going to have a great time doing some feedback. Okay, let me get the right screen shared again. Okay. Minimize that. Okay. I'm going to share this screen now so I can see your designs and so everyone can see your designs. Awesome. Okay, who was first? Let me pull up the chat. We've got Amy. Yay. Thank you, Amy. Go ahead and unmute yourself so we can chit chat here. Oh, let me see. Are you still here? Dang, she might have left. Okay, she did warn me she was going to have to leave early. We will go ahead and have a chat without her and she can watch the recording. Okay, so let's watch this together and then we'll do some first impressions. All right. With 44 seconds. I covered all the R's. Okay, can I get some initial thoughts? What did you all think of that just off your first view? Shirley says she loved Amy's transitions. Yes, there was a great use of transitions. Kathy, I see your comment. You need remedial instruction. Can't figure out how to add a second page. Okay, real quickly. When you're in the timeline, you've got a couple options for adding a page. This big, huge plus sign is an add a page plus sign. Your other options are to duplicate a page you already have so that you have somewhere to start working from, like if you're working in a template. So those are two ways to do it. And then the third way would be hovering in between two slides that you already have, which if you don't have a second one, that's not going to be the way to do it, but you could do add a page here as well. Okay, hopefully that gets you going. Okay, I'm going to let this play since it doesn't have any audio. I don't think I can choose to loop it here, but we'll just keep it going. Okay, any other comments? Vaughn says, cool. Grace says, gave enough time to read the text. Yeah, I noticed that the slides that had more text were a little longer, so you had more time to really take in what it was saying. Laura, okay, thank you for joining us, Laura. I'm so glad you were able to be here today. Feel free to watch the recording if you're interested in any of the feedback we give. Okay, Stephanie says, good transitions. The yellow heading is in the way on the first 2 or 3 segments. Okay, that's a good piece of feedback. I'll let it play one more time. Anybody else have any initial thoughts before I give mine? Needs a wrap-up slide. Okay. I mean, she definitely could add a wrap-up slide. She's got 15 more seconds to work with on this particular project. And that is something to consider when you're making this type of, definition-driven video. The other thing to keep in mind too is that with short form video, because they're short, the student can watch it multiple times and they probably will. So you can kind of decide there if a wrap up is necessary or not. In this case, I think it could work, but it's not necessarily necessary.
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily mean like a wrap up, like to close it up, but just like something to like, it just feels like it ends all of a sudden rather than like closing it out or something to just a different ending transition, I guess.
I see what you're saying. Maybe even something that would make it feel like it's looping. So like in this sense, if you wanted it to loop, you could bring it back to this. And in that case, I would actually remove these entry animations so that it would just start with the text like this. And that way it could end with the text in the same position and it would loop, it would loop seamlessly.
Yes.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. That's a good suggestion. Love her credits for definitions. Great idea. Yeah. In this case, she went a little bit of an extra mile, but very academic by crediting where her sources were coming from. That's always a good idea to do that. And with video formats, if you know you're going to upload it to YouTube, say you don't want to put URLs in your video, you could always put them in the description area on your video. It depends on what format it's going to live in on the internet. I guess you can do that on social media too. They all have description. As long as it's like a reel or a post and not a story. I'm not super well versed in TikTok, but I know Instagram and Facebook have it. I'm assuming TikTok has it too. Ooh, I'm showing my millennialness. Okay, moving on. Yeah, okay. So some of my initial thoughts on this one were, like it was already said, great use of transitions. The text is really pretty easy to read. I did notice on like this slide specifically, she's got a text effect, which is adding this stroke around her text, which is great for boosting the legibility of it. But what's happening here, especially on these pointy letters and numbers, you get this like spike. I call them spikes. It means that the stroke is like running into itself. And so then it kind of glitches in a sense. So let me see if I can recreate that anywhere. Maybe we'll try it here. So this effect, she's got it set to outline. She's got the thickness kind of boosted up. She's got it set to black. And I'm not sure exactly what font she used, but it's like this font isn't doing it because it's rounded. So let's try a different font. Let's see if Canva Sans does it. I don't see it happening there. I'm like, of course, I just want to demo this and I can't get it to do it. Okay, here's one. So if you look real closely, I'll zoom in. My W here is getting real spiky. So obviously that's something we don't want to do. So what I would suggest if you see that happening on your text is you pulled down the thickness of it until those spikes disappear. Now, for this one, that brought me all the way down to 58. If that isn't going to give you the legibility that you need, either switch to a font that doesn't have, pointy W's and V's. Pick a font that's more rounded. I believe Lato is the current font that is like most accessible in terms of legibility. So that's always a good place to go. But let's test it out and see if I'm right. Yeah, see, there's no spikies happening because the W is rounded enough, just enough to where that doesn't happen. Yeah, I don't see any spikes. So, font choice. Now, if you're working in a brand where you have to use a certain font, so like LAPU, our brand font is Proxima Nova. So let's see if that one has any spikies. Yeah, Proxima Nova has spikies. So, you might have to then opt for a different effect for legibility. I would probably either go with a shadow or, like I had before, an actual background where you can have more control over that legibility. Okay, what else? I think her text size is okay, especially on the definitions. The Just Us for Youth, 5 hours of restorative justice. Because it's such a short video, I don't know that we have to have that on every slide. For sure, I would put it on the title slide. Got a little typo there, but that's an easy thing to fix. The other thing I'm noticing is because you used a template here, there's a font difference from your title to your next slide. So an easy way to combat that problem is, make sure that all your fonts are either the same or that you have a maximum of 2 fonts and that they're consistent throughout. Consistency is really important. So like if I wanted to switch this to my brand font of Proxima Nova, that's really big. Let me make it a little smaller for the sake of this. That change that I made to that font, so it says Antonio became Proxima Nova Medium. I can click this button that says change all. And now anywhere in my document where I had that Antonio font, it's going to change all of them to Proxima Nova, which is really nice. And then you can, go in and customize from there. Did it change this one? I already had that one changed. Okay. So I would suggest, considering how many fonts you have and how they're being used. In this particular case, I think I would change that title font to match the rest of the document, just so it's consistent throughout. I don't think I see too much else that I would necessarily change. I like the videos she chose. I like that there's some colorful options throughout. I might suggest changing this silky thing. Maybe just go with a gradient or something that fits better with all the other stock footage. But, you know, that's just personal taste at that point. Any other thoughts or feedback for Amy before we move on to the next one? Thanks for coming, Scott. You might already be gone, but I'm glad you came. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next one. We've got one from Shirley. Just the beginning idea. Okay, that's great. We'll look at it. Okay. Oh, you gave me editing access. Oh, wait, commenting access. Cool. Okay. So I'm going to watch this. All right. Okay. In the chat, or if you want to unmute, why don't you guys give me your initial feedback? I'll play it again. Just initial thoughts. What's working? What isn't working as well? Okay, Kathy is saying each slide could be a little slower. I totally agree. Pacing is going to be important for this one, just to make sure everything's legible. Any other immediate thoughts? Now you'll notice this first slide has audio on it. Some stock videos have the sound included in them. And so what you can do is, if you don't want that, let me open up mine here. So this video I have, you can go to the volume. It doesn't have any audio, but if it did, I could just mute it. And then I wouldn't be able to hear any of that background sound. So I would suggest clicking on yours. Oh, I do have editing. Okay. So I would click on that video clip and I would just mute it. I can see here all of your slides are 2 seconds or less. So I would definitely go more towards the 5-second mark. Your little transition gradients are pretty cool. I would make sure to add a transition between every slide. So let's say we wanted them all to have this flow transition. After I click on flow, it gives me the option to apply it between all pages. So if I just click this, now every single slide is going to flow to the next one. So now, oh, it's still playing that audio. Huh. I wonder what that.
I added that audio. That's why.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay. Okay. Did you want that audio to play throughout, or was it just?
No, it was just on that first slide.
Oh, okay. So you were like trying to add a sound effect.
Right.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, well then you did it exactly right. You dropped in your audio clip, and I just dragged it to snap to that. I think you had it to here, which would make it carry through the transition on that gradient, which is cool. If you wanted this gradient to be in your background, so like on this slide, you've got black in the background. You could apply that to the background of all of your slides.
Oh, okay.
So if you click here, you'll see it in your document colors. So now there won't be a seam. It'll just float right in like that. So that's kind of a cool option. But yeah, I would lengthen those slides a little, just so that you have a chance to really see what it says on each slide. Does anybody else have any thoughts about what's working or not working? Let's see. Ensure that the videos are adjusted to fit the size of the video. Okay, I see what you're saying, Kenna. So like on this slide, the video doesn't extend to the whole thing. Now, with the gradient around it, that might be the look you're going for. Or like Kenna's saying, you could just do a replace background, and now it's going to fill the whole screen.
Okay.
So that's an easy way to do that. On this one, I would definitely add either like that effect where you've got the background to boost your legibility, or you could instead add a shape element. And the cool thing about adding a shape element behind your text
Oh yeah,
is
much
that
nicer.
you can animate it now. So like when that transition flows, watch how that looks. Well, if it will play there. Okay, let me back up a little more. You'll see it. What's it doing? Oh, I lost my timing on it. There we go. Let's see. It's going really fast. Oh, I see. I can make the duration of my transition a little longer. Maybe make this a little longer so it has time. And then you'll see how that box animates in. And then the text follows it. So it just adds like a little bit more polish, a little more visual interest. Did you have any questions, Shirley?
No, my other question was just for instance, that slide, I would want to add my own audio to it.
Okay.
So that was the only other thing I was thinking of.
Sure.
Thank you for all your help.
Of course. Yeah, and I would say as in terms of like adding narration, I typically will either record it myself using they have free audio recording tools. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on your computer, depending on what quality, like sound quality you're going for. Honestly, recording with a cell phone microphone has gotten so much better. You can get pretty decent audio for narration. I use a pro tool, Adobe Audition, to edit my audio. And then if I want to use an AI voice, like I said before, I use Well Said. Canva actually just added an app. It's not free though, so it's something you have to buy credits for. But they just added an app where you can do AI presenters and generate narration that way. I think there's one other tool as well. So like say you didn't want an avatar. This one's kind of cool because you can upload your voice and have it generate a talking head. So it doesn't have to be your face. Or you can use the avatar and then tell it what it should say and it will generate. So like this one we'll say engage students. And we'll use Jenny's voice. Style will be cheerful. And then we'll preview.
Engage students.
Not bad. Not bad.
Nice.
So to generate that, you would have to have credits loaded into this particular app service, but it's an option, right? So there are tools out there that you can play with. And this one just happens to be built right into the platform. So, play with stuff like that. It's what it's there for. And yeah, if you click on this apps tab, you can see all of the apps that are currently available. And I'll say again here, they are constantly adding more. Like I think just yesterday, they added in a Bitly app. So now all those QR codes that I've been making for my presentations, I can just create them in Bitly and they'll auto load when I click on this tab. So every QR code I have synced in my account is now here. And I can just click and it'll appear.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
So if you had recorded that on your phone, then how would you have downloaded?
What would my workflow be?
Mm-hmm.
So I actually have Canva installed on my phone. So if I record the audio on my phone, I would open up the Canva mobile app and just upload it directly from my phone. Otherwise, I would send it to myself in an email or however I would need to get it to my desktop if I didn't want to install the mobile app, which is the easiest way. But yeah, there's lots of workarounds. Like any way that you would normally send yourself a file would work. And then you just upload it. You can use the upload feature here. You can click and drag it into Frame and it'll automatically add it here. Oh, look at that. Record yourself.
Oh my goodness.
I've never seen that before. Okay, so apparently you can.
So where is that at again?
Okay, let's go back and look at that again since I just found it myself. That's so funny. Okay, I'm gonna go back over here. No, how do I get out here? Escape. Well, now it wants to record me. How do I make it stop? That's funny. Okay, I'm gonna refresh. See if that helps. Yes. Okay. So what I did is I went to uploads and there's a button here that says record yourself.
All right.
Now I will preface this by saying I've never used that before, so I can't attest to the video quality or the audio quality, but knowing what I know about Canva, it's probably pretty good. Okay.
That sounds like something to play with.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I always encourage people when I'm doing things like this. It's like I still am playing with it. Like I know a lot about the platform and I use it a lot, but I'm always finding new Easter eggs and nuggets to play with. So definitely get in there, get dirty. And they also have a lot of help features. So if there's ever something you don't know off the top of your head, you can click on this little help button and just ask your question here. So like I could have said, can I record my own audio? And recording videos in the editor, adding audio tracks and sound, recording and deleting talking presentation. So it's going to give up everything that it has on that.
Okay.
So there's always quick ways to find that information. The other cool thing too is the Canva Assistant. I think I talked about this in my last presentation, but this is an AI-driven tool. Well, some of it is. So it's like a shortcut, basically. Like if you want to add a quick text box, you can either hit the T shortcut, or you can use this assistant, click here, or you can go over here to this panel and click here. So like there's always multiple pathways to do the same thing. So it's just a matter of your personality and how you're using the interface. But there's lots of shortcuts here. I'm a big shortcut person, so I'm constantly learning and memorizing the hotkeys. I don't expect everyone to do that. It's just how I like to work. But yeah, if there's ever something you're like, oh man, I need a table or a chart and I don't want to have to go like search for it, you can just click here and it'll, oh, what size of my table do I need it to be? I need it to be a 2x2. Cool. Now I have a 2x2 table. Simple. Let's see. What are some other things? If you have Pro, you can get into some more of their AI tools like Magic Write. That's always fun to play with, because then you just type in a prompt and it will generate content that fits your prompt. And it's pretty decent at coming up with stuff too. I'm a big fan of AI. It's really fun to play with. As far as a creative tool goes, it gets all the juices flowing. Yvonne says, when the text to picture runs out of credits on Canva, do the credits ever refresh? Or do I have to buy Canva Pro to use their text to picture again now that my credits are gone? Okay, so I think what you're talking about is the app for Dolly, because I was looking at that recently. Dolly is a image generator software. Like you can use it on their website, but they've also integrated it into Canva. There might be others as well, but this just happens to be the one I was looking at. So if you notice at the bottom here, it says use 1 of 23 credits. So it's given me credits to play with. So I can generate an image based off of a prompt. So like the example here is horse riding astronaut digital art. So that's like, I want a astronaut riding a horse in the style of digital art. And it generated this image. An oil painting by Matisse of a humanoid robot playing chess. So it looks at the artist Matisse's style and generates something that looks like the prompt you gave it. Armchair in the shape of an avocado. That's pretty funny. So this particular app says it refreshes on 8/31. So that is implying to me that tomorrow I will have my credits refreshed. I don't know how many I started with, because when I was playing with it, I don't remember how many I generated. I want to say I only did 1 or 2, so maybe it starts with 25 credits. But yeah, I just started playing with these as well. So I would suggest trying it out and see what kind of credit load it gives you for free. But yeah, a lot of those image generators are paid services. There are other ones, if you're interested, that are free, like I think Adobe Firefly is still free, but it might still be in beta. I'm not sure on that one.
I've been using Bing.
Bing.
Bing would refresh their credits. So,
Okay.
you know, if you use it, you can use as many as you want, then the next day the credits refresh.
Cool.
So I was doing a project and I was creating a lot of, you know, illustrations for something I was writing. And then I realized, oh wow, they ran out of credits, and I got kind of miffed because I was in the middle of, you get into the middle of a project and then you really get into it and then suddenly it says, you're out of credits. Okay, that's it. And that's the thing about not having the paid version of everything. All of these AIs make you wish you were rich and you could just buy the paid version of everything, and then you can put the paid version of everything on your computer. And so it makes me feel poor that I have the free version of this. Then when my credits run out, I'm like this pauper that's begging for more, and then you got to wait for tomorrow or the next day. And at least with Bing, they do refresh it, so you look like you never used it before. So there are you know, other besides Magic Write, and also besides Magic Write, and besides the one they have in Canva, DALL-E, everyone is integrating it. Like Office 365, which I have with my other school, they have, I think it's an automatic AI, like when you have the Google's documents, and then it says export to PowerPoint, and I do believe that's tied to an AI that then puts all of your, whatever your document, Word document, and then puts it into slides. I do believe that's an AI function off the top of my head. But I've done that a lot. So that's really, and also I've done a combination of ChatGPT because I'm not very good at these 1 second scripts, and I've never done that before. So I used ChatGPT to generate a 1 minute script, video script for how to pray. It was my very first time doing that. And then, so ChatGPT generated a script for me. And then I told ChatGPT to generate a text description so that I could go to those arts I didn't know you could create and so that I could use those descriptions for my, you know, in the text to video. And then we would create anyway, that's what I did. And that's how I did the how to pray. It was a combination of ChatGPT, DALL-E, and Canva, and Camtasia with music. I actually had to string together, I know a little bit of this, then a little bit of that, then a little bit of this. And so I kind of like, it was very eclectically made. And it was my first time doing something like that. So
I definitely love ChatGPT as a starting point for, like, I have this subject matter and I've written it out and it's too long. Like, it's going to be a 5-minute video. If you feed that into ChatGPT and tell it, can you boil this down into a 60-second video script? It'll do it, and it'll do a good job.
Yeah.
One thing, I don't know if you've tried this specifically, but one thing I did try with the AI was I, you know, gave it my script that I had written for a video project I was doing, and I asked it to suggest visuals. Like, what is some, like, it was a pretty abstract, like, psychology video. So I was like, what can I create for my visuals? I was struggling to think of these abstract visuals to use, and it gave me great suggestions. And it even like broke it down. For this paragraph, your screen visual could be
yes, that's exactly what I did.
And then I went from there.
Yes, that's what I did. That's what I did for the how to pray. Because how to pray, it's so abstract, you know, and all that. So I said, include in the taglines and include a textual description. So that way I could stick that into the text to video, and then, you know, that kind of, but I didn't know what you taught us today was about how there's the video templates, and I could just put the video templates into Canva, and then just then change it up using, I don't know if I can do that with the free version. Can I?
Oh, the templates? Yeah, there's still free templates. They're when you're searching for the templates, you can set it to just show you the free ones, because there are obviously more pro ones than there are free ones, but there's still quite a bit of free content available.
Yeah, I'm totally enjoying this. I learned so much.
Good, I'm so glad.
How to make it longer, how to use what fonts. This has been a lot of fun.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Yeah. All right, so I know I mentioned at the beginning we're going to host another contest. The official rules and instructions are going to go out to everyone that registered for this, and we'll be sharing it other places as well. So you'll get to see what exactly you need to do to enter. But the contest this time around is going to be specific for short form video. Entries will need to be 60 seconds or less. And we just want it to be, you know, a quick teaching, learning moment. So anything you want, like there's no parameters on what you have to teach, but just make it informative. That's all we're looking for. Informative and creative. That would be great. And then again, these are some links to our resources. There's our YouTube channel and our OER group where, you know, we upload stuff there all the time that's free for instructors to use. Constantly adding new things, so always check back. I'll give you a second to scan that. But it'll also be in the recording if you want to look at it later. And then again, I wanted to mention our Masters of Science in Instructional Design and Technology. This is our new CBE program. We invite you to go look at the our website with all the information for the program. It is a self-paced program designed to be done in about 16 months, and it costs $10,000 if you do it at that pace. So feel free to check that out if that's something that is applicable to you or someone you know. We'd be really grateful if you shared that information out. Again, thank you for coming today. We're so glad that we had this time to get together and work in Canva and be creative. All right. Thank you so much.